So I was trying to figure out, Gator, how much we should care about the 1 seed. How much we should care about the 1 seed. So we've had this format of 7 teams making the postseason for 4 years. And the 1 seed, it changed everything. Like prior to that, the 1 seed and the 2 seed got the first round buys. There was a wild card weekend and then they played. But now the 1 seed is the only one that gets the first round bye. And we all know the other 6 at play, and then 3 survive. The lowest remaining seed takes on the 1 seed. How much do we care? Well, the 4 years that there have been, that we've had this format, meaning there's a total of 8 1 seeds, 4 in the AFC, 4 in the NFC. How many do you suppose 1 seeds made the Super Bowl?
Of the 4 years?
Yep. 8 total 1 seeds.
Twice. I don't know.
Okay, it's 4. Okay, so half of the Super Bowl teams have been 1 seeds. And only 1 seed has won the Super Bowl, but at that point, being a 1 seed gives you nothing. You're not playing at home. The bye doesn't really matter. Both teams have a bye leading into the game. Should it really matter a ton to us? Well, the other option is, of course, the having to play an extra playoff game. And if you're not the 1 seed, you are likely to, but not guaranteed to have to go on the road at some point. Well, it's silly to say that the Lions couldn't win on the road. They're 6-0 on the road this year with 3 wins over playoff teams and 2 wins over teams on the cusp of the playoffs. Indianapolis is the next first team out in the AFC, and Arizona is a game out of the playoffs in the NFC West. Lions have been road warriors. The wins over Houston, Minnesota, and Green Bay, all playoff teams. They also won 1 in crappy weather at Green Bay. If they have to go to Philly in crappy weather, it would be hard, no doubt about it, but they absolutely could win that game. Some other possibilities for a postseason weather game, if they have to go to Green Bay would have to pass them in the regular season, or maybe even Seattle can have pretty brutal conditions in the Pacific Northwest. So how much should they want the 1 seed? I think they should really want it, but I don't think it's the be-all, end-all. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I would agree with that. And yet, I think it also isn't. It's not devastating if they don't get it, I guess is the way I look at it. I want it because I think this team needs all the rest that they can get for the playoff run, and particularly when it comes to guys like Aiden Hutchinson. If you're hoping that he's going to be available to you at some point in the playoffs, if that's a real possibility, then yeah, I want to be able to prolong this as long as possible so that you can have your full complement of players. But it's not a devastating look. I mean, the Lions last year, what they did last year was spectacular, and that wasn't a 1 seed, and they should have beaten the team I shouldn't say should have. They could have beaten, San Francisco in the NFC Championship game and found themselves in the Super Bowl.
Okay, so half the 1 seed since we've gone to this format have made the Super Bowl. 1 seed has won a Super Bowl. 2 4s made it 1 year. That was the year that the Rams and the Bengals made it. Kansas City made it last year as a 3, and they went to the 1 seed and beat Baltimore. And I think the other one was New England, who made it and won. Or was it Tampa? Tampa made it and won. It was Tom Brady, right? I think it was the other one. But anyway, Kang, how important do you think this 1 seed thing is? How much would you be going for it?
I think it's very important.
Okay.
It's not just the week off, and if you want to count that as a victory, playoff victory or not, getting the bye, that's up to you. But to me, it is about the home games. Listen, we know the Lions can win on the road. They've done it so much now. It's like, it's second nature to this team. But I don't want to go on the road. I think going to Philly it could be a problem. Going to Seattle could be a problem. If you don't win this division and you get a wild card, you're going to go on the road and play another division winner. I think this stuff is important. Listen, they played in Green Bay, and Goff came out and said, I thought we were the warm, the dome team, all that stuff. Yeah, so I know they have that chip on their shoulder, and they can pull that off, but I don't want to if I don't have to. And I think weather does matter. Philly, the wind, I don't know what's going to be like. Seattle, I don't want to do that if I don't have to. And it's stating the obvious, but I think I think it's more important than people realize. Just because the Lions have been winning on the road, at some point that could easily, hey, this is the playoffs. It's, win or go home. And, hey, before you know it, the wind did play a role, and it didn't have to.
So I guess here is my proposal. what we hear in these times is when this guy gets hurt, somebody's going to have to step up. That guy gets hurt, somebody else is going to have to step up. But what coaches do more than just say it's the backup that needs to step up, they'll say, well, the offense is going to have to be better. And our special teams are going to have to be better. With a defense that's been ravaged by injuries, that gets cited a lot. And here's what I'm proposing. If you think the 1 seed is important, if you think that is something they should absolutely be going for at all costs, then that means Amon-Ra St. Brown is deep on punt returns. Or Jamison Williams or Terrion Arnold. I guess those guys are lobbying Dave Phipp to return punts. And the reason is, yeah, it comes with a risk. But if you can get one of them to take one to the house or give you better field position or get a 20-yard return, which is 2 less first downs that the offense has to get, if you can be better on special teams, that's one way to do it. I understand that there is a injury risk that comes with, but it's not as like I'm telling them to cross into the Russian front. And we're just saying that you just want this team to ask. If you're asking a little bit more of everybody, I think strategically that is something that you can do, is put those positions in players, put those players rather in positions to help make your special teams better. And if you don't like the idea, I mean, that's cool. I understand it, but if the 1 seed is really that important, then I would go ahead and put guys back there. This isn't exposing them to 50 more hits the rest of the way. It's exposing them to a chance to take a hit here and there.
Yeah, I don't have an issue with when it gets to, I guess, using those guys. I don't know if I want to use them too early just yet, but at some point you may feel the need. And I think it's a game-by-game basis. It's a situation-by-situation basis. You can always go to that if you need to. If you feel like you need that extra spark, then go ahead and put St. Brown or Jamison Williams back there. The issue that I would have with Jamison Williams is I'm not sure he's going to catch the ball. I'm almost 100% sure that the St. Brown's going to catch it. But I don't have that same confidence with J-Mo.
Right. Well, whoever it might be that gives you the best chance to A, catch it, and B, give you an explosive return.
Don't be afraid.
They released Mo Alexander, so people who don't know. And maybe it's not even about the 1 seed. Because if you don't win the division, and this thing is still a battle, you're on the road the entire postseason.
Yeah.
And so if you're asking for more, is this a risk worth taking? 248-539-9797. You're on board?
Yeah, I don't have too much of an issue. Like I said, to me, it's situational. Yep. I think I still, for the game on Thursday, I would expect that Tom Kennedy or Donovan Peoples-Jones is brought up to the roster, probably for that role. But if you have to, if you need something like lightning in a bottle, then you can go to it.
Kang, you okay with this?
Only situationally. I don't want him. I don't want him to start the game back there just because he's quote unquote the best punt return on the team. I'm talking about J-Mo or St. Brown. Because for me, I just want my special teams. My bar is low. Don't lose me the game. Don't fumble. Don't go backwards. End of story. Now everything else is kind of like icing on the cake. Khalif, great punt returner, right? I think he's got 1 return this year for a touchdown. So, I mean, my question is, how much are you gaining by putting J-Mo back there as opposed to somebody else? Are you gaining that significant amount of an advantage?
It depends who their options are. I would imagine that if it's a decision between J-Mo and Tom Kennedy or ASB and Donovan Peoples-Jones, I think you're gaining enough to make it worthwhile, even if it's just a couple first downs, if it's 20 yards. All right, 248-539-9797. Love it or hate it. Karsch and Anderson, we'll get to your phone calls and feedback coming up.